Today we're going to talk about maps. You've been looking at different kinds of maps since you were a kid. You probably didn't even realize it. Where's Waldo? That's a type of map. Can you find him? Where in the world does Carmen Sandiego practice his map reading skills? Even good old Dora the Explorer teaches map skills to preschoolers. Our essential question today is, what is the difference between a physical and political map? By the end of the lesson, you'll be able to explain the difference. Our state standards look at geographic tools that we use to explain location and region. Get out your notebook and write this down. Political map and physical map. During this video, you'll be able to identify and write down the definition of each of those maps. Here is an example of a political map. A political map shows how humans have impacted the landscape. For example, city names, roads, country borders, etc. are all part of a political map. Political maps often use colors to show the boundaries between states and countries. For example, on this map, Pennsylvania is green and New York is yellow. Now, of course, in real life, those are not the colors of our states. They just use the colors to help you identify different locations on a map. Something you may not realize is political maps change frequently and must be redrawn often. A political map of the world that is 50 years old is no longer accurate. Wars and ethnic conflicts are two major causes of political map changes. If there's a war between two countries and one country takes over another, they change the borders and change its name. So the political map would have to be rewritten. This is another example of a political map. This is a road map of the state of Pennsylvania. Because these are man-made features, all of these roads, this is a political map. Here is an example of a physical map. Notice you don't see the lines drawn on it the way we saw on the political map. Physical maps show what the surface of the Earth looks like. A physical map highlights Earth's natural features, such as mountains and forests. Here is another example of a physical map. Physical maps do not contain man-made features, like roads, like we saw in the state of Pennsylvania map. Color is used to show elevation, which means the height, or relief, how flat or rugged the land is. When you're looking at a map, make sure you always look at the map key to understand what the map is showing you. Let's take a quick review. What is the purpose of a political map? To show borders of countries, states, and cities. What is the purpose of a physical map? To show you what the surface of the world looks like. Let's do some quick practice. Which map would I use if I were looking for a location while driving in my car? If you said political map, you'd be correct. Remember, a map that shows roads and street names is a political map. Those are man-made features. If I were a hiker, which map would be useful? Political map or physical map? Physical map would be the correct answer. You would need to know where the mountains, lakes, and rivers are. Last question. If you were taking a trip to New York City, what type of map would be most helpful? Political or physical? If you said political map, you'd be correct. You would need to see states, cities, and roads. Let's review our objective. What is the difference between a physical map and a political map? If you can't answer that question, you should watch this video again. In our next lesson, we'll move on to the next theme of geography, which is place. See you then.